Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing well. My name's Luke and I do perfume reviews. Here on this channel, we talk only about perfume and nothing else. If that's your cup of tea, please consider subscribing. If you're a regular, welcome back. Please give this video a like and post a comment if you wish to. I love reading your comments and I always reply. Today I decided to talk about the perfumes that I've been reaching for, wearing a lot this month. In the month of November, where I live, the weather's gotten quite chilly, and these are the fragrances I've been enjoying the most. I've got some vintage, some new, so without further ado, let's get into the video. The first perfume that I want to talk about is Dior Homme Intense, the Eau de Parfum Intense, released in 2011. It was on my wish list for the longest time and I finally pulled the trigger and got it 2 months ago, and I was waiting for the weather to get a little colder before I started using it, and now is the time, and I've been wearing it a lot, as you can see, and I'm so glad I added it to my collection because it's one of the most beautiful powdery iris perfumes I've ever tried. And even though this is a masculine perfume, I can safely say this is 100% unisex. Anyone can wear this. I enjoy it a lot. My mum enjoys it a lot. Basically, everyone I know loves this perfume on me, and I also love the way this smells. As I said, this was released in 2011 and then it was reissued later, a few years later. The main accords are iris, woody, powdery, earthy, violet, aromatic, floral, musky. The main notes are lavender, iris, ambrette, which is a type of musk, pear, cedar, and vetiver. Dior Homme is an elegant, masculine, powdery iris scent. It's lipsticky, it's woody, it's powdery, it's refined. It smells mature, luxurious, and even though it's masculine, it's quite unisex. It can be worn by anyone, but I think it's one of the best men's perfumes on the market. And I know for a fact that lots of people adore this perfume, even though lots of people complain about longevity issues. But I can only speak for myself, and I can confirm that on me, this is a beast mode perfume. It's very potent. I get around 3 hours of amazing sillage. I can smell myself, and it becomes a skin scent after 5 to 6 hours, but it does last all day. This is such a potent scent. I was truly impressed when I tried it. It's such a beautiful, creamy iris perfume. It's very French, and it does remind me of Shalimar, just a little bit. You know, that powdery iris is the same as the iris that you get in Shalimar and in some of the flankers that have a very strong iris note. And I have to say, to me, this is very much an evening perfume. It starts out sweet, almost fruity, but then it gets woodier, muskier. And I have irises in my garden and they smell absolutely stunning. Iris is a flower that doesn't smell clean. It smells earthy, pungent, even musky. It's such a weird flower and I absolutely adore the way iris smells. This is not your typical sharp masculine cologne, which is a type of fragrance that I don't really care for. This is a beautiful scent. It's very smooth, it's sophisticated, and it does make me feel amazing. So that was Dior Homme from Dior, the 2011 version, so the intense one, which was re-released in 2020. But in my opinion, the performance is still amazing. Next up, we've got Coco from Chanel, which is a 1980s style amber spicy oriental perfume, and it's one I always start wearing in October and I wear it all winter long. This month I've been reaching for it all the time, and I've been pairing it with my Coco body lotion, which is a very concentrated, heavily scented body lotion. And this lotion performs like an eau de toilette, in my opinion. If you put more than a grape-sized amount on your skin, you're going to smell like cocoa all day long. And if you pair it with the eau de toilette or the eau de parfum, you will smell of cocoa until you take a shower and wash it off with soap. I really wanted to show you this lotion because it's one of the most strongly scented lotions in my collection, and you can wear it as a perfume. But let's talk about the fragrance. The original Coco from 1984, as I said, this is an amber spicy perfume. It was created by Jacques Polge, who is an in-house perfumer for Chanel. And Coco to me is just elegance in a bottle. This evokes opulence, this evokes Paris, luxury, going to the theatre, gold jewellery, fur coats, you name it. It's such an opulent perfume. I think it's unforgettable, it's full-bodied, it's rich. The version that I have is a 2021 batch. This is not a vintage bottle. I did have a vintage bottle at one point, and I have to say this new version is just a bit fresher, a bit soapier and perhaps more airy than the vintage, but it's still very ambery, oriental, as well as floral. And I'm sure once this macerates and becomes richer, it will become stronger and it will become more like the vintage version that I used to have, which was really Coco in its full glory. It was beautiful. I wish I had the vintage version of this, but I'm really happy with the modern Coco because it still smells amazing. It still has the lasting power, the sillage, the potency. Even though this is an eau de toilette, it does last around 10 hours on my skin. And if I pair it with the lotion, it lasts all day. I usually do around 5 to 10 sprays, sometimes more, sometimes less. So when you spray this on, it's quite soapy and powdery, but once it dries down, you really smell that warm, oriental, ambery base with the notes of popanax, sandalwood, amber, civet, and vanilla. And even though you get some florals in the heart, some ylang-ylang, some jasmine, some rose, this is definitely not a floral perfume. It's a very strong ambery oriental, but it does have some flowers. It's not quite as oriental as opium. So I would say this is more of a soft oriental. It's not quite as strong as opium, and it's much more likable. And I think even though this is from 1984 and this is vintage, it would be still something that's quite easy to like even today. Even though so many people absolutely hate vintage perfumes, I think this is a vintage perfume for the vintage hater, if you want. And I think it's an absolute masterpiece. It's warm, rich and ambery, but there is a seriousness about it. So that was Coco from Chanel, the original eau de toilette. Eau de parfum is also great, but my choice will always be the eau de toilette. Next up, we've got Hypnotic Poisin eau de toilette from 1998, created by Annick Menardo. I know I talk about this perfume all the time, but I decided to talk about it again because it's one of the perfumes I always wear in autumn, in winter. This is my staple. For cold weather, this is my staple. I use it all the time. This is probably my 4th or maybe my 5th bottle. I don't even count anymore. And as you know, Hypnotic Poisin is an almond vanilla scent. It has some spices, some flowers. On my skin, the opening can be a bit bitter because of the bitter almond note. But if you give it a minute or two, it becomes just divine. And the dry down is the most beautiful caramelized, spicy vanilla with musk and woody notes. It's a sweet, nutty vanilla scent. And to me, it almost smells like salted caramel in the dry down, but I wouldn't say this is a modern gourmand. This is not a modern gourmand. This was one of the first gourmand fragrances on the market, but it's not a true gourmand. It doesn't smell like salted caramel. It doesn't smell like cookies. It still smells like a perfume. The performance is excellent for an eau de toilette. The opening is very strong. You get good sillage if you overspray it for the first few hours. Around 5 hours later, it becomes more of a skin scent. But if you sweat or if you move a lot, even 8 to 10 hours later, I can catch whiffs of this when I wear it. So it's still very much a strong perfume. Even the newest formula, I've purchased several bottles over the years and it's always been a strong perfume. I can't complain about the performance. Whenever I wear this, I get tons of compliments. I always get a compliment when I wear this. And it doesn't matter if I spray 5 sprays or 15 or 20, I always get a compliment. I have to say a bit more about the gourmand trend. So why is this not a modern gourmand? Well, it was one of the first gourmand fragrances. It was groundbreaking when it was released in 1998 because people weren't really used to sweet vanillic scents. And it was one of the first perfumes to use the note of almond. And it's not a modern gourmand because it's not sweet by today's standards. It's not sickly sweet. It still smells like a perfume. And it's not a gourmand because it doesn't smell like food. So it's a 90s gourmand, just like Angel. Even Angel doesn't smell like food to me. It has a cotton candy note, candy floss, whatever you want to call it. It has a cotton candy note, but it doesn't smell like food. It has a very strong patchouli note. But I digress. The next perfume that I want to talk about is Givenchy L'Interdit Rouge, released in 2021. It was created by Dominique Ropion. And as you know, I don't really care for new releases, but this was one that I actually purchased. I purchased this last autumn and I've been using it ever since. I stopped using it during the summer, but now I'm using it again. And this bottle is just a 35 milliliter bottle and it's almost empty. So even though it's stunning, I probably won't get it again because I'm a bit tired of the scent, but I'll talk about it anyway. In my opinion, this is the best flanker in the L'Interdit line. The original is more of a bubblegummy tuberose. The Intense is still a bubblegummy tuberose with a nice vanilla and sesame note. And this one is an entirely different perfume. This still has a bit of that bubblegummy tuberose note, but it has lots of different unique notes like ginger, pimento, blood orange. It's still heavy on the tuberose, but the blood orange, the ginger and the pimento make it orangey, spicy, energizing. They make it warm, creamy and spicy. And I really love that zingy opening, which is a little bit piquant, so spicy, with that pimento, ginger and blood orange. The base is mainly strong patchouli and some woody notes. So this is a very unique perfume in my opinion, and the bottle is just tells you everything you need to know about the scent. It's red, it's flaming hot, the color says it all. It's such an amazing perfume, especially when you spray it on. The dry down can be a bit generic in my opinion, but the opening is something else. There is a lot of sweetness because this is a new release and sweet perfumes are trending at the moment. And even though I dislike sickly sweet perfumes, this is not too sweet for me. I can still enjoy it, probably because of the opening. If this didn't have that unique opening, I wouldn't enjoy it. So I use it mainly for the opening, and I really like to respray it a couple of times a day because I don't really care for the dry down. I mean, it's a nice dry down, but you can get that type of dry down from so many other perfumes. When it comes to the performance, I don't find this to be beast mode. It does last around 8 hours on my skin. It projects for around 2 to 3 hours on my skin, and it becomes a skin scent after 5 hours of wear. People can definitely smell this on me for the first few hours. It has arm's length sillage. I mean, it could be stronger, but I'm happy to reapply it after 3 to 4 hours. So that was Givenchy L'Interdit Rouge. And now let's move on to the final perfume that I want to talk about, which may come as a surprise to some of you because it's more of a summer perfume, but I've been wearing it a lot because it reminds me of summer. And I'm talking about Sun from Jil Sander from 1989. It smells like an old school suntan lotion or sunscreen. It just reminds me of being on the beach, somewhere in the south of France or Italy perhaps. This is by no means a modern beachy scent. We tend to associate beachy scents with coconut, with tuberose and with vanilla and those creamy florals, but this is not that. This is a vintage suntan lotion scent, and if you remember what suntan lotions used to smell like back in the day, you will recognize the scent. And it's such a beautiful scent. You get the creaminess from the ylang ylang, you get that resinous benzoin, you get vanilla, you get the powdery heliotrope. This scent is beachy and solar, but it's also clean, creamy, and it feels luxurious in my opinion. It smells clean and white, and it almost smells like a lotion, like an expensive body cream or a suntan lotion. It does also remind me of Lulu from Cacharel, but it's much fresher, much more citrusy in the opening. I think it's a beautiful old school scent, very nostalgic for me, but it's not dated. I wouldn't call this dated, but I have to admit it does have the same plasticky vibe that Lulu has and lots of other 80s and 90s fragrances have. So if that's not your cup of tea, I would avoid this one. But if you want to be transported back into the 90s, and if you want to feel as if you lie on a beach with no SPF on, this is the scent for you. Because back in the day, sunscreens with SPF higher than, 10, 15, didn't even exist. Or maybe they did, I don't know. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. So that was Jil Sander Sun from 1989, a classic beachy scent that I've been wearing a lot this month and I plan to wear it even more. So that was all from me for today. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments, let me know if you like any of these fragrances, if you have any of these fragrances, if you hate any of these fragrances. You can tell me anything in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope I see you in one of my next videos. Bye.